Welcome everyone to this PC live streaming tutorial. We will be learning how to use our brand new live streaming PC and the software that goes with it. We hope you enjoy and learn something new and start streaming yourself. So let's get started. So the introduction to this machine. This is an Asus ROG Strix G15 gaming PC. So it's pretty powerful. It has an i7 in it, and also it's equipped with an Elgato Camlink Pro. This device has 4 HDMI inputs. So this is a capture card. So now, once you have booted the machine, this will be the first thing that you'll see. So you have to click enter on your keyboard, or while using your mouse, left click. Then this prompt will pop up, and then you put in the password provided by the AVT. Once you're done, then click enter on the keyboard, or using the mouse, go on this tiny arrow and left click. You'll be greeted into this screen. This is OBS, also called as Open Broadcaster Software, and this is the software that we use to stream. So you don't need to start anything up. This will start up by itself, and you can just get into streaming. There's no setup required. There is a little bit when it comes to the actual live streaming part, but nothing for the system itself. Now in this software, you can see that there's a lot of stuff happening, but we have divided this into 10 steps, or 10 places. So let's start with the first step, the audio mixer. On the top here, this is the audio mixer, and this is telling you the levels of the audio. So you can see right now, I'm talking right now, and you can see my audio is coming up almost to the yellow. It should always stay around this level. It shouldn't exceed to the red, or it shouldn't go too low in the green. You can always adjust the audio levels if needed using this slider right here. And mostly you don't need to do too much besides monitoring this area. We like to keep this to around -2 dB. This is like the proper spot, the best spot. And if you ever want to go more or less, you can always do so. If you always want to mute it, you can always mute it from right here. This is to mute the audio. So if I mute it, as you can see, it turned gray then, and also you obviously couldn't hear what I said, so that's why I unmuted it. Now moving on, right under this is the preview screen. So this is showing what all scenes you have selected. In the bottom here, these are your scenes. So whatever scene you have selected, it will show up right here. Suppose I have PT side camera, then it'll show up on the left. If I have the presentation laptop, it'll show up right here. So the advantage of this is that in YouTube, whoever's watching won't be able to see this preview screen. So you can always set up your shots accordingly and get ready for your next scene that you want. Moving on, number 3, we have this section in the middle here. This is your transition section. So we'll see how this is being used later on. But this is where you use to transition between preview and program monitors. And we'll use this in a bit later. Next up is the program screen, is the program monitor. This program monitor is the same thing as the preview monitor, but instead, you can't quite edit it. This is only to show what the viewer will be seeing. So right now I have in the preview showing this. This is only for my reference only, the preview monitor. But the program monitor will be showing anything that the viewer will be seeing. This is the reason why there's 2 of them, only for your like timings or to get something ready. You can always do it beforehand. Moving on is the scenes on this bottom left corner over here. This is mostly the place that you see around like which scene you want to select. So like PT side camera or side by side over here. Now the advantage of how we have placed this whole scene setup is that it mirrors the same thing that's on your number keys, your num keys on your keyboard. So if I click 1 on my num key, you can see right here 1. PT set camera. And if I click maybe 0, it goes down to blackout here. So this is exactly the same layout as your numlock keys. And you can see it here as a visual reference. They're also above here in the preview monitor. You can see the number over here. I click 1, it comes up here. 5, it comes there. So this is just a reference or like a reminder of which scene you have selected. And it comes in handy a lot. Now you can see how this is all adding up. You can select the scene that you want, and then you can get ready over here, or suppose like 5. You get ready over here, you have your shot ready, and then you can smoothly transition over here to the program. So like right now it's not showing anything, and then as soon as I transition over, maybe I want to fade, then you see a nice fade towards the program. So this is how this whole screen is used, and the scenes down here are used. This is the most important part of the whole software to get this mastered, and you'll get pretty well doing this whenever you start using it. Next up is the lower thirds over here. They're called lower thirds, but technically they're nothing but a name overlay. So suppose someone's coming up to read, like right now is a great example. I have my side-by-side shot over here. Someone's walking up. So I can set my PT side camera to maybe shot 9. That's the reader shot. Here it is. And then they're walking up. I'm waiting for them to come up. I'll click enter on the num key on my numpad on my keyboard. Or I can click fade over here. I'll transition over. And then using these lower thirds option, I can select the name. So suppose Lynn Bishop is coming up. So I just click this tiny power on button, and as you can see, a nice lower third. So this is just used for the names. If you remember in the YOLO box, it was the same thing, but a big white and yellow thing will come up in the middle here. But instead, this is much more neater and in the bottom right corner. We have divided this into 4 sections of our whole church service. So we'll start out with the announcements. So everyone in the announcements, then the reader, who all will be doing the readings, the sermon, and finally the prayer in the end of the service. All of these here are organized the same. These over here are actually saved slots. So you can see number 1 is Reverend Eric, number 2 Bob Twynham, number 3 Nancy McPherson. So they're all the same. Like they're all saved shots or saved names, and you can always just click on them or just hover over them to see their names pop up. For all 4 of these sections, they're the same except the sermon, because we only have one person in the sermon, and that's our reverend. And this is the lower third. We'll dive more deeper into this later on. Next up is the status bar, or the status window. This is just simply telling you how the computer is performing throughout the stream. So as you can see, the computer isn't doing too much. There's nothing in red or yellow. Honestly, if you see anything in red and yellow, that's a bit of a warning that the computer might be slowing down. And you just got to keep monitoring if the computer is fine. And same with the network stuff down here as well. Next, number 8. Over here is the Kento timer. This is where we have all of our timer overlay. So suppose if I switch this on, you can see over here, this is our timer overlay. We use this in the beginning of the service to synchronize Kento starting, or the organist's timing, and the choir's timing as well. We'll learn more how to use this timer in a bit. For now, I'll switch it off. Also in the bottom here, you have OBS Text Slideshow. This is, the name says OBS Text Slideshow, but you can think of this as your help page. So as soon as you click this, you see all of these options. There'll be more coming up in later times. There'll be more help options. If you ever are stuck with anything and you're confused, you can always come over here and just click what all you're having trouble with. So suppose I come here and I'm confused with the hotkeys. So I can click the hotkeys and now I got all the hotkeys for the computer. So this is a great reference for you to have. Next, number 9 is the control section down here. There's not too much to actually click there's not too much that you need to worry about. The more important stuff that you have to worry about is, of course, the start streaming and the manage broadcast settings. These two might be the most used buttons because manage broadcast, you'll set up the stream, so what title you want and what type of description you want to put. That's where you can set it for manage broadcast by clicking this, as you can see right here. We'll learn more later about this. And of course, start stream will be you're starting the stream. Also, another thing, make sure this studio mode is blue. Without studio mode, you can see it's only one screen, and this defeats the purpose of to set up our preview and our program screen setup. So always have studio mode turned on so you can have both of these shown. And of course, you have the exit button when you're done streaming. You'll click this to exit out of OBS. And our last dock or window is our current time window down here. This is just simply showing the current time with seconds so you can get the perfect timing for the Kento timer. It's a very simple timer. It's a very simple dock, but it comes in handy too. So now let's move on. Let's now learn about the coordination of the scenes and the lower thirds. So over here, these are all the scenes. So let's go one by one and learn what all of them are. So number 1 will be the PTZ camera, HDMI 1. Number 2 is the fixed camera. Number 3 is the presentation laptop. Number 4 is the side-by-side shot with the PTZ camera. Number 5 is the side-by-side shot with the fixed camera. Number 6 is the news layout. Number 7 is the picture-in-picture. This is with the PTZ camera. Number 8 is the same thing, picture-in-picture, but with the fixed camera instead. Number 9 we're not using at this time, so you can just disregard that. The / key, this is our off ring, and this is with the main PTZ camera, and then HDMI 2. So the star would be HDMI 2, the fixed camera, off ring, side by side. Now you can notice that in the side by side, that these two are black. You can't quite see the video playback in the background of our donation message. This is only because right now in the preview monitor, it's not loaded like the video. As soon as you press enter, the video will automatically load. So just have the shot ready and click enter and everything will do by itself. Once it's done, then just click enter again and it'll just fade back to the last shot. You can notice that whenever I click enter, you can see that both preview and program just swap their views. So for example, right here we have our side-by-side with the offering. As soon as I click enter, this PTZ camera goes off to the left-hand side. So they're just switching between them. So they'll remain the same shots or the same scenes unless you change them. And program will always be your live streaming. So if I just want, sometimes it happens that I have the fixed camera and I have just the PTZ camera. You can just keep cutting between the two. You don't need to reselect them at all. So now, as you can see, the transitions between them, you have options between how you want to transition. So when you're clicking enter, this is automatically a fade transition. So when I click enter, it's a 1 second fade between the two shots. If I click the plus button here, that's just an instant cut. So I can instantly cut between the shots. And the minus key, that's fade to black. So suppose anything you want to just fade smoothly to black, you can just click this button. Like in the end of the stream, it'll fade to black. Click it again to show it again. But this time it'll switch the scenes whenever you do that. So just have that in mind. Now you might be wondering that there might be duplication in the system. Like you have this minus key that's fading to black, and then you also have a scene over here that is a blackout scene. Now, whenever you're clicking the minus key for the transition, this is a transition. So that means when it fades out to black, then it'll get the other, your program monitor, whatever scene you have on that will go live, but it'll just be black. Like it'll be faded out. So as soon as you click the button again, it'll fade into the new scene. So if I see right now, I have the presentation laptop as my preview monitor on my preview monitor, and I have the fixed camera on my program monitor. When I fade out to black, as soon as it's all gone, you can notice that in the top right here, it changed from fixed camera to the presentation laptop. Now, when I click that same button again, now it's going to the other shot. So always remember, if you want a proper fade to black, then by clicking number 0 on your numpad and then clicking enter, you're gonna get a proper fade out. And then you can notice that your blackout is on program and then your previous shot is on preview. So you can just click enter again and you'll just come back to that same shot. So always use this blackout scene whenever you want to black out or hide the shot or anything. Don't use the transition key. So now let's go more to the lower thirds. So this is the lower thirds, or the names of the participants, and they are divided into 4 categories of our church service. So starting out with the announcers, then to the readers, the sermon, and then the prayer. Over here, this is the tiny widget that you'll be using to show or hide the name. The names are saved to these slots on the bottom here. So there's 10 slots for 10 names. All of these other widgets are technically the same except the sermon, because we only have one minister. So all these slots are also ordered the same way too. So number 1 will always be the same, number 5 will be the same, and you can always see the names by just hovering over them. So like Reverend Eric Lee is number 1, number 4 might be Nancy Green, and they're all the same. So once you got an idea of one area, you can easily just change the other. Now suppose I have over here, Bob Twine now. He's coming up for the announcements. So I have my fixed camera set. Bob is walking up. Then I'll press enter to transition over. The PT set camera goes to the program. And then I just click this tiny power on button over here. That switches on that certain announcer, and then it shows up right here as a lower third. You only need to do that once for the person when they come up, and then it'll automatically hide by itself. Now suppose you have the lower third set, but then you have unexpectedly someone else starts talking and you want to add their name. It's quite simple here on OBS that you can change the name. You can just double click or just start editing the text to anyone else. It's not like how in the YOLO box you need to go to any other settings. So you just simply start writing the name. So suppose if I write my own name, Eric Sharon, announcements, then you just write it and then you switch it on like this. And then it shows up perfectly as so. It's very quick and fast. Now the only thing that you have to keep in mind for the announcements is that their icons here are gender specific. So Eric Sharon, that's me, I'm a boy, so of course it's showing the boy. That was already set. Now suppose we don't want it to be like, if you look here, Nancy Green, you can see it's a girl now. So just make sure that you have set the correct icon as this. You can look by looking through these save slots, you can find the icon, or you can just simply click the icon here, click choose image, and among these 2 announcements, select the gender that applies to the person. So then you click that, and then you click open here. I won't do that just yet. It'll show up over here and you click OK and it'll be changed. Now, suppose you have changed the name, so it's my name. My name. You have also changed the image, so it's a girl, so I changed it to a male. Okay, now it's a male, it's my name. And then you have also the photo, gender specific photo, correct? But you'll see that none of these slots are selected. That means it's not being saved. This, all changes that you have put, is temporary and won't be saved. So you can select any other shot and then come back to number 2, which Bob was on, and it's still Bob. So this is great on the fly. You just want to change it once, not save it or anything. You can just do that. Now, suppose if you do want to save it, then simply go onto onto any slot that you want to save. Just press and hold it until it becomes red like this. It starts blinking, then let go. Then that slot is gone. You can add the name, change the name, title, and also the photo, and then click that same slot again, and it'll save. You can do this if you want to. You want to keep the organization the same for all of them though, so don't go out and change everything and keep it the same. It's just great to just change the name on the fly as well. Just get it ready before they come, and when they're out, then just switch it on. Now, if you see that this gender specific photo is only for the announcers, in the readers, it's all the same photo, sermon, of course, the same, and also the prayers are the same. It's only in the announcements that you have to actually take care of what photo you have set on it. You don't need to worry about this too. If you have it pre-selected, it's all good too. So now let's learn about the Manage Broadcast settings. So once you click Manage Broadcast, you'll be shown this prompt. This is where you set up the whole live stream. So of course, our title over here, we'll put in our title using the same format. So that'll be year 2023, month 11, so November, and then the date would be. So we'll put in the 19th, Graceview worship service, and then you'll put in the sermon name over here. So in brackets, sermon name in quotes, and then by, and then the minister will be there. Make sure that the privacy is on public. Right now, I'll just do unlisted because we don't want it to be a public live stream right now. Category will be on education only that time, and make sure no, it's not made for kids is turned on. Then click Create Broadcast. Once it's done creating the broadcast, then you can notice that this Manage Broadcast has turned blue. This signals that it is ready to live stream. The only thing you have to do now is just click Start Streaming, and it'll start streaming for you. So for now, we'll start streaming. As you can see, a bit of change is happening. Right here in the bottom right corner, you see a green square. This is telling you the status of the stream. So green will be healthy, and then you have yellow and red, which mean it's not so healthy anymore, and it's weak, the signal. You also have your kilobytes per second upload speeds, and then you have the same stuff over here, your CPU, your frame rate recording. You also have this area here that tells about dropped frame rates, and this icon turns blue, indicating that you are live streaming now. Also over here, this was inactive before, just like this recording, but now stream output says it's live. So you can always see here more in depth about how it's going. So like drop frames, total data output, bitrate, you can see it all over here. So you can always even start a recording at the same time while you're streaming. So I'll start a recording right now. And now you can see that the recording has started. So stop recording is now here instead of start recording. And you also have this pause button. Now once you have paused it, you notice that this is now a pause symbol that's blinking, and it also shows this timer here and says paused, and it's not going up. So this is very handy if you want to add your own cut. Now when we unpause it, you see that paused is gone, it's counting up, and it turned red back to the recording symbol as well. Now you can also see over here in the status, it also says recording now instead of saying inactive. So now we're doing both of them. So in the outputs, both stream and recording are working, and it's showing all the information here about that. Now once we have stopped the recording, you can see that it says inactive and it's not recording. In the bottom left, it will show you where the recording is saved to if you need to see. And over here where it was showing recording, it's now grayed out and there's nothing counting up anymore. We're just live streaming now. So if you ever want to start recording as well, you can do so here, and you can always then later see the output. So now once you have finished the stream, everything is done, then simply just click stop streaming. It'll ask you, do you want to stop streaming? You will not be able to reconnect. Your stream will stop and you will no longer be live. So just click yes. And then it stopped here. You can see everything is inactive over here. And down over here, there's no more statuses showing up anymore. So now the computer and the software have come back to their original state of being ready for streaming again. Of course, you have not managed a broadcast. If you want to start another one, you have to click it again and set the whole thing up again, and then click create broadcast. Now you can see here that those changes that I did weren't saved. You have to make sure that you click on this check mark in the top here. Remember these settings. When you have that checked, then all of these will be the same every time you'll come up, like you load. The only thing different you have to do is put the date in. So now in the beginning of the service, you'll be using this Kento timer over here. This will be our welcome time countdown timer to when the service will start. So we have to set up the shot first of all. So you'll have the shot set on shot 6 with the PTZ camera scene selected. So it'll be like this. Make sure you have its PIP inset. So that will be the picture-in-picture PTZ camera configuration. And make sure this configuration that the picture-in-picture itself is in the top right corner. In order to do that, you just select, you go over this PIP inset. It'll turn blue, as you can see around the borders. You left click and hold, and then you can move it anywhere you want. So we'll just move this all the way to the top right corner, and it'll just click in place. Once it's done, just click out of it, and now it's set over there. When you click enter, then it'll update over there. Just a quick note with these picture-in-picture. If you have a picture-in-picture live and you want to change it, when you change it, it won't affect the actual program out. So you can have this down here in the bottom left, but not affect the program itself. Then you can fade it over there. So this is a pretty handy feature that you can use. And one quick note is that just make sure you don't scale it at all. This is properly scaled. You just have to keep moving it. Only move it where you want it to go. So we'll put it back to the top right corner again. And then we'll put it live. Now this is how you will start your live stream. You'll start in this configuration. You just have to wait for 5 minutes before the service starts that you'll show the Kento timer. Now in that time between maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes before the service actually starts, you can show the welcome videos and the pre-show videos that we have created. Now, in order to show these, you have a keyboard shortcut that we have made onto the keyboard. This is located in the regular keyboard area. This is the function keys. So we have 4 function keys that we have set up for this. 2 to show and 2 to hide. So there's 2 videos that we have. It's the welcome video and the pre-show video. Once you have started the live stream, you want to show the welcome video first. So that'll be F5. So once you click F5, you'll see this video showing up. It'll show up in all of your scenes. Well, most of your scenes. Some of them won't show up, like the presentation laptop. It won't show up on that one. But mostly when it comes to any camera shot, you'll see this. Make sure this whole video runs fully, because this shows an introduction to our church, and especially for people watching. But also you want to also show this to the people in person that are watching. So make sure you switch the switcher in person, HDMI switcher, to show to the projector over there. So once you switch it, then it will show up on the projector, and then make sure this whole video is being played out fully, because it also shows our donation messages in the end. And over here, this is the online donation page. So make sure this whole thing runs. Now, once this whole thing is done, then you'll just click over here, F6, that'll hide this video. It'll cut and hide immediately. Once that's shown, then maybe after some time, you can also show your pre-show video. You can also show your pre-show video, which is the same thing as the welcome video, but it only shows the donation messages. So this will be F7, and that will only show your donation messages part. Once it's fully done playing, then click F8, and that will hide the video. Now, 5 minutes before the service starts, make sure Kento or the Organist is starting to play, and they would have their phone out or whatever device out that has the timer URL in it. You'll just click on this on button that will show this countdown over here. Now note that when you click on, that won't start the timer. That will only show the timer. In order to start the timer, you have to click this play button down here. So over here, this is a bit fast to do, but once you get habitual, it actually won't be that hard to do. So in essence, what you have to do is just click on and then click play. You have to be a little bit faster to show like it's naturally playing. But as soon as this is playing, then people who are viewing online can see that this is that you have 5 minutes before the service starts, and also the organist themselves can see the countdown on their phone. This is all interconnected, and everyone is synchronized to start up at the same time to start the service. Now, once this hits 0, so I'll just reset this, and I'll just change it all the way down to just 30 seconds, or actually 15 seconds. Now, once this hits 0, you have to hide this, show your other shot, which will be 4. That'll be your HDMI 1 SBS shot. You have to show that shot and then click reset. So I'll just show you what I mean. So 15 seconds remaining on the clock. Everyone's getting ready to go. Once this hits 0, I'll just click off, like this on-off button, I'll click. And now I'll click enter to transition the scene. This means it started, the service started. And all the way in the end here, you just click this reset button, right beside the pause button. This will reset it back to the amount that was set previously. Now I set it to 15 seconds, but when you reset it, this will be set at, this will be set like this, 5 minutes. When you click reset, it'll be to 5 minutes. So that's the only thing that you have to do. It's a little bit fast at the beginning, but once you have habit, then it's quite quick. You don't need to worry about this countdown end message. You can just ignore this for now. Just focus on this part right here. So this is how you use this PC and its software. It's way more easier when you start using it, But suppose if you need any help, then you can always go over here to this OBS text slideshow. It's named OBS text slideshow, but actually what it is, it's a help page. This is where you can see if you have any problems or questions or anything. Most likely the frequently asked questions will come up here and with its answers. So suppose, for example, right now I forgot a hotkey, how to show the pre-show video, suppose. So I can click this drop down button right here. This will list out all of the known issues if you are having. Then I'll click hotkeys, and now these are all of your hotkeys here. So now for me, it was the pre-show video. So number pad hotkeys, no, that's not related. Keyboard hotkeys, yes. Show welcome video, no. Show pre-show video, yes, that's F7. Now I know that F7 is the pre-show video. Now I can just click that and it'll show it. Now F8 is to hide. So this is very useful for in case you forget what certain hotkeys are, or if you see over here, you can go to your lower thirds, and if you forget, what's the order, suppose, you can see it more easily over here. I can now quickly see that, Earl is number 8, and I'm quickly ready with my lower third. So this area is very helpful to quickly look and revise if you need help on the fly. So that's all to OBS and the PC itself. So once you're done the live stream, then just click on exit over here. And now you'll be on this screen. This is the desktop and you're out of OBS. So if you want to shut it down, go to the bottom left corner to this taskbar area. And then go all the way to the left to this window symbol and click it. And then press this power button. Once you do that, if you see this update and shut down, just do shut down. Just click it and that's it. Thank you. Happy streaming.